Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, proud to be the world's #1 community for brilliant childcare leaders. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Elif Childcare Insurance. Give Blake a call at 972-232-2258 to get a free quote on childcare business insurance today. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to episode 42 of the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Hope everybody's doing well today. And we're excited for this interview because they are good friends of ours. And they just opened a brand new school, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I want to introduce to you first a book that we have called the Childcare Mindset 30 Days of Growth and Transformation book. So, Brian, why do you talk about books on your podcast? Because they're tools for you to help you in your business. That's why we wrote them. Well, what is this tool, Brian? Well, it's a 30-day of growth and transformation, meaning that in 1 month, you could totally change your childcare mindset. It's written for your teacher, it's written for your director, and it's written for you owner. So in 1 month, in 30 days, you could totally change your mindset and your attitude. If you have staff members that maybe are a little bit down, a little bit not positive, maybe a little maybe you as an owner, maybe just need a little bit of a reset on your mindset. Well, guess what? I wrote this book exactly for you. They're very inexpensive. We sell them just about at cost when it comes to shipping coming to you. If you go to our website at childcaregenius.com/book, childcaregenius.com/books, you can go ahead and order them. And we give these out to our team members, so they make great gifts. They're really good at teacher appreciation time, obviously, which just passed, but you can appreciate teachers every day of the year.
Right.
So don't be afraid to give these out. We could actually onboard with them and give them out in part of your onboarding. And if you do the 30-day routine with your teachers, it'll totally change their life. And we guarantee that. So that's our 30-day mindset book called 30 Days of Growth and Transformation. It is available on Amazon, or you can go to our website at childcaregenius.com/books. So our guest today on the podcast is Chasen and Julie Thomas, and we're so excited to have them on our podcast today. We first got to meet Chasen and his wife Meredith last year. We went to St. Lucia with them on a Childcare Genius workation trip, and they were telling us about a new school they were opening in a few months called the Stanley School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Well, they thought they were going to be open last year, but sometimes when you're doing new construction, there are delays. And they just opened up this past Monday, and we're excited to have them in. They got a brand new school. It's beautiful. And they're going to talk a little bit about today about the challenges of opening a brand new school from the ground up, which is a challenge sometimes. We're going to talk about that, and also some of the cool things that they're doing over at the Stanley School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So it's going to be an exciting interview.
Let's get Chasen and Julie on the line. Hello, Chasen and Julie. Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Doing well. Thanks.
So exciting to have a mother-son team in childcare business. I know of one other one in Colorado. So you're the second mother and son kind of leadership team in childcare. And I can't wait to hear the story, like who approached who. So can you tell our listeners like how you got into the childcare business as a mother-son team?
Sure. I think it would actually be appropriate if Mom kind of talks first about her, her background. It's interesting with both of us. We actually don't come from education background per se, but both from the corporate world, and I'll kind of go from there.
Okay, so yeah, I am an entrepreneur. I've had a couple of businesses, certainly again in the corporate world, not in the educational space. I have been retired for over 20 years. And as children do, they try to pull on your heartstrings. And so I feel like my husband and I, who are celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary this July, have raised two really special children that are smart and overall good people. And when they come to us for just about anything, we try to do what we can to help them out, level set the situation. And Chase has been working on this project for probably over 8 years. Brought it to us about 2 years ago, and it sounded promising. And my mother, who is 92, said, "Why did you decide to do this?" And I said, "Because I knew it was a good idea." And so with that being said, I came out of retirement. My husband came out of retirement. We were sitting on the beaches in South Florida and enjoying life, and but actually kind of bored at times. And so this has given us more than an opportunity to get rid of the boredom. And so when Chase approached us, we both knew that it was something we could help out with. I told him that I would give him a year, and now I think I'm well into 2 years. But our family has a passion for education. My father, who, as I mentioned, my mom's 92, my dad's 93. Actually was one of 3 gentlemen that started the school that I attended as a young child, elementary school, parochial school. Chase and our daughter Channing also attended that school. And so the passion just, I guess, grew. I didn't know that I would be in the childcare business, but it's certainly been rewarding so far, and I'm glad that we jumped in. Chase called me one day and he said, "You ready to jump off the deep end?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, where are we going with this?"
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good summary, honestly. Outside of that, she said, I've been working on this idea conceptually for a very long time. I just, early on, I have a background in business, undergrad, and I have a master's, I have an MBA, and always through all of that process was kind of looking for the right idea to get going. I've grown up in an entrepreneurial household where I've seen the benefits of that as well as the challenges of it, and it's just always been motivating to want to do something on my own. And it's funny, over the years, I can't tell you how many business plans I've presented to my dad or my mom, and I actually didn't even have to show them the business plan this time. It was just, I think they saw the amount of work that I had put into it, as well as really just trying to wrap my brain around how we wanted to do it, and the quality of program that we want to offer these kids. But really, it really stems from you can go to any corner of the United States, and childcare is in demand right now. It's a major need. And so really, from the beginning, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. It's been around for a long time. Again, I have a corporate insurance background, been in that industry for a long time, and wanted to approach it that way. And I didn't want to overly complicate it. But we do see the need, not only for providing the care, but raising the bar, as they say, and have tried to do that and be purposeful on how we do that in every facet of our business. But ultimately, at looking at several different options on how I was going to structure the business, knew I needed a really strong number 2, even though she won't acknowledge that she's the number 2 and I'm the number 1. But anyway, no, which is the fun thing about working with your mom. But no. I knew that I needed someone there that not only had a good business acumen, but also would have my back. And through the process, talked with several friends or close, colleagues that I knew about that. And one day we were sitting on the back porch at their home in Virginia, and I was just kind of going through all of it. And Mom said, I'd kind of like to try something like this. I kind of like to do it. And so here we are, 2 years later. My lovely wife, Meredith, has been very gracious to give up our home. It was an office for the first 6-8 months. The formal living room became my office, and the formal dining room became Mom's office. And I cannot tell you, I think the last count, I'd actually tried to do this, and I was going to present it to my wife in a funny way, but we've received over about 1,500 boxes at our house since inception. And the Amazon guys love us. So to wrap up that, it really, to have Mom in the role that she is not only invaluable for me as her son, but the business, it is, the role that she's in, which is predominantly enrollment, is just great. She does a great job with it, and she enjoys it. And frankly, the parents and the kids enjoy it as well.
That's awesome. Can you please tell us about the Stanley School and what makes the center different than other programs in your area? Sure.
So the Stanley School, again, in the idea of not reinventing the wheel, there's really 4 big things that separate us or make us different. Really it starts with the approach. As we've told you, this is a true family-run organization. We approach it, good, bad, or any differently, how we approach life. We also, coming from outside of the childcare world into it, I feel like there's a lot of things that we've put in place. And Brian, you and I have talked about during the coaching. I feel like there are things that we've kind of overdone, but it's been great that we have, and it sets us up for success, and it resonates with the parents. But really, the other ones are our facility here in Chattanooga. It's just a beautiful building. It's an old building that we remodeled, all 17,000 square feet of it, and it's truly state of the art. From everything from the security measures we've taken to the commercial kitchen that we have in there. It's nicer than most restaurants in town. That's where my dad spends his days. He's feeding these kids and the teachers. But also, really just taking the design perspective to the building. We consulted with just a lovely lady that really set the whole building set it up purposefully. So each room has a specific color scheme based on the age group and their learning, and from that to the different dynamics of the indoor playground. We've got these cool reading nooks that are awesome, but the facilities are great. The second thing that we pride ourselves in is our curriculum. When we got into this business, we did not want to buy a canned curriculum. We wanted it to be a very purposeful curriculum focused on the development of these children. And so while the established curriculums that are out there are all great, we decided that we really couldn't pick just one. And so we wanted to take basically, we have 6 different of, I guess, the shining points of all of them, and want to deploy that in every classroom at all ages. So we've got, we have multisensory, the learning through play, the theme-based learning, practical life skills, hands-on experience, and the critical thinking, and all those, those methodologies behind them. And really, it's been just phenomenal to see. We're still early on it, but into it, but the curriculum's already been deployed in the school. But the third thing is, again, it goes to our approach. We have what we call the SHINE method. And it's an acronym that we, in all facets of the school and the experience, the parent and the child experience, and the teacher experience too, which frankly isn't talked enough about in our world, I think. But the SHINE method, S stands for seamless. We want everything to be seamless interaction with the parents. don't want to really leave anything in question. H is happy. We are happy people and want a happy environment. We want our kids, parents, teachers. I frankly want to be happy when I come in the building. Sometimes are better than others, but no, the I is intentional. Everything that we've done in propping up this business and executing it has been done purposefully. You've heard me say that word a couple of times now. There's not a single thing that hasn't really been thought through. N is nurturing. Ultimately, that's what we're here to do, is to nurture these children. And E is exceptional. Frankly, we're really proud of the product that we're putting out. We are within the area. We're paying a good, at least 20 to 30% higher in wages, have better benefit packages, but it goes more than that. When we've hired our teachers, we really been blessed with finding folks that are really motivated to be here. They want to be a part of these children's lives, but they also want to move forward. And it kind of speaks to it strikes a kind of a note with me. I'm always I've been a very ambitious person, I feel like, and I like to see that work ethic in other folks. But all of that coming together presents a product that is, it's not just an ancillary offering from another business or a church or things like that. We are here to educate these children. We are not a daycare. Daycare is a bad word in our building. We're really wanting to set these children up for success, to move to the next level. And that really is kind of the backbone of what sparked the idea in the first place. I always talk about competition in our space, and I really don't see it as competition, because we really and truly all are in for the greater good here. But at the same time, there is such a demand that there's no other options in town. So people are not just in town, but in every town. Parents are putting their children in places where they can lose their space, frankly. And I have noticed that, and we've built off that. But also, Chattanooga is a great educational town. There's public and private, all the way through middle school, all the way through high school, have great programs. And we noticed that in the early childhood space, there was a need there. And there's once they get a little older, there's some really good options. But we want to get them when they're really young as well. So,
awesome. Boy, this is a great story, and I love all your approach. You got a model that is so much more superior than a lot of the programs that I've seen out there. And you just opened, so this was your first week opening. And how exciting was it when that door finally opened? That first kid walked in. Was it a big sigh of relief?
It was. It was. We had our training the 2 weeks before we opened with the teachers. All the staff were bringing on, and I think every morning, Mom and I, when we were beginning the sessions, got emotional. This is a big thing, and a lot of work's been going into it. And I thought I was going to get all emotional on day one. Well, I was, and then I walked in and I was told that I didn't order enough nitrile gloves. So I had to run to the store real quick. So no, it's been wonderful. We're in day 4 now of opening, and I was joking about this with our head of school yesterday, and I said, the Shine method is holding up right now, but the S, it stands for seamless. We might not be quite seamless yet, but it's smooth, and smoother than I thought it would be. So we are really excited about it. It's been a long time coming, and we've dealt with some challenges to get here, and so it was nice to just see the children in there. And my daughter is in the school as well, and so it's just fun to see her and take ownership of her school.
So you decided to build the school from scratch, start up, do a complete renovation, instead of buying an existing school. So what are some lessons that you learned from the experience? How long did the process take from start to finish, and what would you do different next time?
How much time do we have here? No. The so the whole process from us hitting the go button and trying to find property to us walking in the front door with the keys was about 3 years. It was part of that is I joke that I think as I've started this business and transitioned out of the insurance world, I think I was like, I could always be, and I think I feel comfortable. I could be a commercial real estate agent, a contractor, and a banker at this point, just because of my experience with this. No, I mean, all jokes aside, it really there was a lot of challenges along the way. This is not for the faint of heart, for sure. This industry as a whole, but doing it the way we did it, I knew that I had a good network around me. And that whether it's all those different components I just mentioned, banker, commercial, real estate agent, and contractor, I knew that I had good support there. The challenges that were unforeseen, or I guess the magnitude of the challenges that were unforeseen, really existed around when we started this, post-pandemic. Supply chain issues are a real thing still to this day. I'm still actually waiting for a couple grids for the fencing for the younger children's playground. So we're not using that yet, but we ordered them over a year ago. So it's just crazy. Supply chain, and frankly, the state fire was a real big challenge in getting all the permitting done. It took us about 6.5 months longer than we anticipated to get everything finalized, and renovating a building that is 80 years old, and it's just such a beautiful building, and we love it. We really feel like instead of renovating, we just revived. We really revived the building, but we touched every square inch of that in the renovation. It really, that combined with the supply chain stuff and with the state fire, all of that, we had to put sprinklers throughout the entire system. We had to put a dry system in. The list goes on and on. There was a lot of delays, and so there's not having done this before. Mom and I look back, and we probably started enrollment a little too soon. Everyone was really excited, and we were just talking about, we've got there's people that are the kids in the classrooms now that were enrolled over a year ago. So they believed in it then. They stayed with us, and we're very thankful for the trust and patience, frankly, that our parents have shown us. But that's one lesson for sure. But we started enrollment a little too soon. We really, I think from a whole, the staffing is always a challenge, as far as how quickly you can do that, and to ramp up and find the quality that we were looking for. That was, I truly have learned a lot about the staffing component, and there's only so much you can read, but when you actually do it, it's a different thing. But I feel like, I've approached this the same way I've approached kind of everything in my life is I surround myself, I create a network, right? And surround myself with, that network for us is, early on, I created a network of folks that had centers of their own, schools of their own. I met you guys, just being able to be around like-minded people, that you can absorb and learn from, has been great. It's been very impactful. Again, I mentioned the kind of the core group of we have our ribbon cutting we're actually doing next month, and we're inviting all our vendors out. And I was putting all of it together, and it's just crazy how many names we're putting up on the board that are going to come for the ribbon cutting. And it's just, we've been very fortunate to have ones that we can count on, that show up, and when the equipment comes in from the supply chain, they put it in. But no, but that's just, there's a lot of financial lessons, honestly learned, just in making sure that you're preserving, you're keeping your powder dry, as they say, making sure you have the resources that now we're here, that when we're open, that we're ready for some hiccups and things like that. And so, so all in about 3 years, working on this, and I was working on it on the side at the very, for the good meat of that too. And that's why, when Mom came in, it was even such, it was much needed.
Julie, do you think it would take so long?
I had no idea. Oh, a lot of people in my world tell me that I want instant beauty. And my landscape gardener, my rosebud man, he's like, you just want instant beauty. And I'm like, well, why can't we have that? And not that I went into this project thinking that anything was going to be instant. I knew it wasn't, but I had no idea it would take this long. When my husband and I agreed to jump on board, and honestly, our home was in Virginia and Florida, and I thought, I'll just fly in and out on the weekends or whatever. And Chase advised me, he goes, no, you'll be here and you'll be flying there in and out. And now wait a minute, and he was right. So it did require time. I guess about the middle of last summer, when we really were hit with supply chain issues, and we had put a sign out in front of the building, opening fall of 2022. First mistake. When you give someone a date, I will never do that again. They hold you to it, I'd like to be held accountable, and I like others to be held accountable. So I really took it very personally that we could not deliver our product.
Yeah.
Very personally. And every time, when I first started with the enrollment process, I was going to the homes and delivering the enrollment application and visiting, sitting on the couches and visiting with these families. And many of the women, the moms, were still pregnant. And so I got to know them. They got to know me, which I like that. I like that connection. I like that connection tremendously. There's not enough of that in this space. But then when I had to send them an email saying, oh, we are delayed, it just tore at me. It ripped my heart apart. And and as I would tell them, I said, I know, I know exactly where you're coming from. Your stress is my stress. When you need childcare, you need childcare. And, we're doing the best we can. And I had to do that about 4 times. And it was very difficult. So to answer your question, did I think it would take this long? No. But am I happy that it did because we got the product that we wanted? Yes.
I'm glad you're finally open. So I've been waiting for a long time for this, and so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
So you've been coaching with Brian for the last 6 months. Can you tell the listeners what one-on-one coaching has done for you in your business?
I mean, it has been a major impact on my business and me personally too. First and foremost, it keeps me focused on what I need to accomplish. But the biggest thing for me too is, I have a strong background in several different areas, but I not knowing what I don't know in this space, from an ownership perspective, Brian's really helped me to avoid the potholes, that are out there, a lot of them. And even if I've hit a few potholes, I haven't, the car hadn't fallen apart yet. I haven't hit them hard enough. So, but really, just the mentorship that comes with that. It's a lot different when you're actually in a coaching environment, when not only are applications given to you, but we can have an open dialogue, as Brian would tell you I'm pretty strong-willed, and so but when we're able to have a conversation about a strategy. I know I might not always agree with it, but we will talk through it and figure out what the best path is. And so having someone that has been able to help, first of all, you guys get my vision, you get what I'm doing, and while we're on different sides of the country, and you guys are not familiar with Chattanooga or the Southeast, really, for that matter. We're able to talk through it strategically and execute, and that's the biggest thing. I think as we move forward, the coaching has been and it will be even more important as we're trying to scale our business. And that's
I remember, Chase, sorry to interrupt. I remember I kind of warned you what your first week would be like. Did it live up to my expectations?
So we were in we when we were down in St. Lucia with you guys. You told me, you said the first week or two you're going to lose some parents and you're going to lose some staff. And today we just had our first no call, no show staff member that is no longer with us, as well as we've lost a few children. And while all of that it's hard not to take it personally, but that is the level that we care. But you were spot on it, and it just because you were right doesn't make it easier. But I did foresee it happening.
Right. And the reason I bring this up is because it's happened to everybody who's in here as a center owner when you've opened. It's happened to us many times. And I like to warn people that does happen when you open. It's some people have expectations, and sometimes you don't live up to that. But you be patient, you love on them, you have grace. And a lot of those families will come back that leave. And the employees that leave and don't come back from lunch, we've all had that. And I don't like that, because to me, it's neglect of children, but we move on. We expect that your first week or two with people just don't fit to your core values. And the better they do that now, then drag on and take people with them. So it is actually a blessing in disguise. So you've handled it well. We love working with you. We love you and Meredith and Julie. It's so nice meeting you finally. And in what a great partnership. What a great experience to work with your child. We work with our children. 4 of our kids work for us. So we've been heavily involved with our kids working for us for many, many years. And it does bring you a special bond and working together. And thank you so much for coming out of retirement. I don't know if Chase would call me and I was on the beach. I don't think he could have lured me away from the beach. So he must have did a good sales job to get you away from a South Florida beach to come in there. But we really appreciate what you do through the industry. And any final words for somebody listening that maybe is thinking about opening a child care center? Don't say don't do it, because you're already open now. Any last words?
I think that do your homework. I think one of the reasons that we're going to be successful is, frankly, in life and in business, I don't force things to happen. It's a maxim that I truly believe in. And there are I think we had a total of 3 different properties under contract before we found this one. And they all would have been a mistake had we forced it to happen. And so, thinking about that and really overthinking it through in many ways, financially and building it, perform all that, but really also just my advice to anybody would be to, build that network, find the experts that are out there, and don't reinvent the wheel. Find how you want to do your own center or school, and do it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you both. Look forward to working with you for years to come. Can't wait to come visit your school here this summer and see the Stanley School in action. How do they reach you? StanleySchool.com. Is that your website?
TheStanleySchools.com.
TheStanleySchools.com.
Plural. We're ambitious over here. We're looking for the next one.
Well, we know what dynasty you want, and we're going to work hard at getting you that dynasty, buddy.
Thank you.
Good deal.
All right, you guys. Thanks so much, and have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Boy, that was exciting.
Definitely.
Man, this sounds like an amazing school. I cannot wait to visit it. And I just I'm in awe of all the good things that they've done and how patient they were. Thankfully, they didn't run out of money waiting for the center to open. Boy, they had a lot of delays. I've been coaching Chasen for about a year now, and he's such a great guy, and he's been so anxious to get the school going. So I'm so happy that they finally have it open. So if you need help in your childcare business, like Chasen and Julie, and you'd like a free coaching call with me, go ahead and go to our website at childcaregenius.com. Click on I'd like a free coaching call, and I'd love to get on a call with you. Let me take 30 minutes, give you some tips, tools, no obligation, and let me help you set you on a path to help your business out. You should never be in overwhelm mode. You should never not know what to do. And as childcare owners, sometimes it's a lonely place without anybody helping you. And if you can get help from somebody like me who's willing to volunteer and help you out, I love doing it. I love helping. And I do about 10 of these a month where I give free calls out to help childcare owners to give back to the community that's been so good to us. So you're guaranteed to come away with 2 or 3 ideas to help your action in your business move forward. So thank you again for listening today. For episode 42, we're going to go ahead and conclude right now. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy life to spend a little bit of time with Carol and I. We really, really, really appreciate it.
And just a reminder to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.